What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of Dragon Speed Shop. Today's video, we're gonna get control arms made for this bad boy here. But first, happy Labor Day. Hopefully you guys are out doing something fun and not sitting in front of a workbench like I am. Yeah, if you are, excellent. But let's get started on this. Show you what I've made. I've already made the lower and the upper control arms for this side of the truck. So we're going to make the other sides. You can take a look there. So the first thing I ended up doing is taking some graph paper and making a jig. See if we can get that glare off there. I kind of screwed up when I drilled the holes. I should be over here, one more square on that side, so I've had to readjust the jig. The two rods I'm using is a 1/16 solid rod and a 3/32 tubing to make these control arms. So first thing I ended up doing is taking the tube and cutting off 3 pieces on roughly the same size. First thing is put this one in the hole that I've pre-drilled. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt. And then the next thing I did is I made a little tiny T-part. Glued this on here first before I glue it to the control arm. And then it pinches in here nice and tight. Make sure it's nice and square. Move those out of the way. Then the next thing I did is I took this same tubing, same dimension of what I'm using, and ran, see if I can do this today, snubbed it up against there, hold everything kind of tight. My angles are marked here underneath so I can see where I'm marking. Took my pencil, marked the angle, and then just cut that off at those marks. And then you end up with a result. If I can hold this today. Just like that one. So it should be, if we take the other one, should be the exact same dimensions from side to side. So the way I glued these up, so I didn't end up gluing this to my plexiglass board here. I'm going to turn this so I can kind of see what I'm doing. I ended up just putting kind of a little ball glue right on the end. We'll get this nice and straight. There we go. Because all I really want to do is just kind of tack this. I don't want to take a lot of glue so it ends up running down the part and underneath the control arms. Because I don't want, like I said, this to glue to the plexiglass. I'm just making sure that there's a generous amount. And we'll slide this into place. So we'll let that dry for a minute or so. Till it bonds with this point. So I will be right back as soon as this dries and we'll pop this out of the mold. Alright guys, so it's been a couple of minutes, so let's pop this out of the jig. The easiest way is just kind of put a toothpick, kind of pull it out. So the next step is leave it on the toothpick. Then we're going to run around all the joints, make sure they're nice and strong. everything's welded together like it should be. Twist this off and we'll just let it dry for a couple hours. I can kind of show you. Let's see, this needs to rotate this way. So as you can see, both control arms are sitting straight across on the very top. The angles are the same. My ends, they're a little off, so I've got to sand them down to make sure they're the right size, that they should be to fit inside the actual part that we made last time. So there's those two, and let's get started on this one. So same thing, and take this pin, just lightly put it in there. Take another straight bar, press that in there, and I did the same process, taking the rod, cutting it to the right dimension. We can double check that because we've already made one. So our straight bars are sitting side where they should be. Our angles match both sides. We know we're good there. So same thing, same process. We're going to glue the exact same way. Make sure there's kind of a healthy ball. Guess it would be more of a drop. And I first press it into this piece here and then lay it down, and then we have a little work time. We can always grab this control arm to make sure everything's still sitting the same. We'll repeat that. Make sure we get a pretty decent amount. This one doesn't want to cooperate today. Alright, there we go. We'll press that into the plastic, rotate it, and there we go. She's all glued together. If you're really careful, you're not quite sure, you can always take a little bit. I need to move this arm out just a little bit. There we go. You don't want to dump, a lot here, especially with this jig. Stuff doesn't really eat styrene, but it will semi kind of glue it to my jig, and I really don't want that. So let this dry again, and I will be back and have one of them probably sanded and put in there so we can see kind of how this front suspension is going to look. So I'll be back in a little bit. Alright guys, well, there it is. Two control arms, kind of custom built. Let's see if we can take a closer look. You can see right now it's kind of sitting on a slight kind of angle. I am going to drill these holes out a little bit bigger, so I do have some kind of fine-tune adjustment on those, but that's no big deal. It is sitting at ride height right now, so it is. You can kind of take a look. I'm a little low, and that's why I need to have a little bit adjustment so I can move those arms up and down. So you can get a kind of side view. What's going on? This part here is what the rack and pinion will connect onto, and then also internally here off of this will be a shock that runs from there to there with a bracket down here and a bracket up there. There's the back view. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video of making these control arms. They're actually a lot of fun, a lot of challenge, a lot of head scratching, but I'm really happy with the final product. So next video we will work on the brackets here that mount those two arms together, and then we'll cut down the hood and stuff and make sure everything fits just right. So until next time guys, This is Dragon Speed Shop, and I'm out of here.